Hi, ladies. Welcome back to the Style Your Dreams podcast. It's Keri here, and I'm excited to be with you for another episode. So, today I want to talk about designing or redesigning your image. So, I want to have this conversation because, as you know, this is really where we begin with our clients. But one thing that we don't often talk about is that when to redesign your image. So let's say you've created it, but when do you know when it's time to redesign it? So the first step, I would say, is being willing to be in the unknown and be willing to create from nothing, whether you've never designed your image or whether it's time to redesign your image. And if you already know who you are and what your style is and you love it, then this conversation doesn't probably apply to you. But what I have found is that most people have never considered what their image or their first impression is. And therefore, they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And they don't love it. So this is a conversation that could be monumental to have particularly if you're up to big things in life. So I'll just share with you what I've been dealing with and why this conversation is so pertinent personally. So recently I've been going through a lot of change. So if you know me or you've been following me at all, you can see the change occurring in real time. So I've been going through this transition, and I've been transitioning from being the CEO of the Style Studio, a personal styling firm, and styling clients in person only for over 20 years. And now I've started an online division of my company to really support and transform more people's lives across the country, maybe even across the world. And this may not seem like a huge change because after all, it's in the same industry, the same field. But in reality, this is a huge change for me personally and my business and for me as a CEO. I am learning new things every single day that I never thought I would learn. I'm learning about online marketing and online sales and oh my gosh, different computer programs. I've hired new staff. I've created this podcast and I'm learning everything about what it is to have a podcast and probably a lot more. But every day has been growth. And I've noticed watching myself over the past year that, and some of it's easy growth and some of it's really difficult growth. And so many of you that have seen me up close and personal, but maybe you haven't really seen the daily growth that I've been going through. So it's been a real challenge for me. And it's probably the biggest challenge I've gone through in many, many years, like a very long time. And with this growth, one thing that I noticed, which is how I can really relate to what other people are dealing with, is one thing that I noticed is that recently, probably in the last month or so, I go into my closet and nothing quite feels like me. It's interesting. And sometimes I get frustrated by it. So I have great clothes, but sometimes I walk in and I'm like, what is going on? I don't want to wear any of it. And the first few times it happened, I thought that I was just in a funk. I just don't like anything today. No big deal. We all go through that. But then I took a step back and I started to realize that through my growth spurts, I'm changing. And that it's now time for my style to change and step up and change with me. And I'm sharing that with you because specifically as women, we change a lot in life. We go through growth spurts often, right? Whether it be as a mom, different stages our kids are going through, as a working professional, as a significant other, we change rapidly, and our bodies change rapidly. You see, I'm not the same person I was a year ago when I started this journey. And most importantly, I'm also not the same person that I'm going to be a year from now. So I need to evolve, and I need to let my style evolve with me. And I'm sharing this with you in case you're in a similar space, or in case it's been years since you've really taken on creating a new style. So I think it's a good point in life to stop and go, who am I now? Who am I? So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you evolved your style? Or have you ever? So life changes, we change, so our style has to change to keep up with us and inspire us and help us create the next big thing. So let me tell you how I recommend doing this. So I recommend starting by creating who you are now. And who do you want to be known as? And I don't take these questions lightly. Even with clients that I've worked with for, 10, 15 years, I still like to sit down with them and figure out, who are you now? I mean, I've known them for a long time. I can tell you what their personal brand is, but I don't know day in and day out how much they've been evolving. So it's good to stop and say, okay, well, who are you now? What's the look that you now want to create? Because you're not the same person that you were a year ago or several years ago. So ask yourself those questions. Who are you? Or how do you want to be known? When people look at you, and remember, I preach this, within 3 seconds, people make a first impression of you. What do you want them to know about who you are? The kind of person you are, your commitments in life. What do you want them to know about you? And from there, look and see how you would really express that. How would let's just say your words are successful, put together, sophisticated. So how would a successful, put together, sophisticated woman dress? Or whatever you create your first impression to be. How would they dress? And start the inquiry. This is not some automatic thing like, oh, I'm going to go to this store and buy this. Do the thoughtfulness to really create this. Because then if you can nail your first impression and you can create this brand for yourself, anything then becomes possible in your life. You can nail it in every area of your life. So then what I would recommend doing is you can start small, which some of you may just want to kind of put your toes in the shallow end. You can start small by going out and buying a few new pieces that would create that new look for you. Or if you're really ready for a change in life, you can jump in, redesign your closet, redesign your look, and dare I say, redesign your life. And that's power. So getting rid of the mundane, getting rid of doing the same thing over and over again, even though you've evolved, but creating newly. Who are you in this world? Who do you want to be seen as in this world so that you can fulfill on your dreams? And if you need help, we're here to support you on your journey. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. And most importantly, I'd love to hear how it impacts you when you put the thought into it. And if you like this podcast, I would love it if you would subscribe and join in on the weekly fun and give this podcast a 5-star review and tell your friends about it. Okay, we will be back next week with another fun episode to get you thinking. Until then, with immense style and consideration, have an amazing week. See you soon.